Tell us what you think. In person, over the phone, online. Watch and hear yourself on TV. You tell us, we air it. This is The Local Live.
Good evening, Larchmont and Mamaroneck. You're watching The Local Live, and I'm Mike Witch.
And I'm Jackie Grosha.
Miss Westchester Teen 2012.
Since we're in the early stages of spring here at The Local Live, we're thinking about the importance of being green.
We sure have, Jackie, and this week's roundtable discussion is all about sustainability and the environment. Tonight we've got three guests here to speak about local efforts at sustainability. Michael Murphy of Murphy Brothers Contractors, Beth Radow, the president of the League of Women Voters, and Westchester County Legislator Catherine Parker.
We'll get to that a little later. First, here's a preview of this week's stories.
Parents and everyone else needs to know about the annual Mamaroneck school budget.
Ann McAndrews isn't going to be leaving Larchmont anytime soon.
This garbage truck sure is green. Find out what makes it so environmentally friendly.
Who brought all these animals to the Sheldrake Environmental Center?
And finally, this playful pup is our pet of the week. The Mamaroneck School Board detailed their budget proposal in an open meeting at Mamaroneck High School on March 18th. This budget has raised a lot of interest in the community because of its transportation cuts. Before presenting his proposal, Dr. Schaap said they had to make difficult decisions about staffing levels, program changes, and services.
Overall, we're recommending 21.35 FTEs of staff reductions. Here, at least some changes to the program component that is presented to the board for consideration. Obviously, you see in the first two the increases for instruction and special education. In the third column, you see there is a reduction for adult education that actually refers to the elimination of our summer school program.
If you take your actual results today, the 123 million, and compare it to what your proposed budget is, that's a 6.7% increase.
Okay.
Why not look to use some of the money that you've taken out of the budget in the hard decisions you've made and put it to places where you think you want to make the investment?
Where is the income shown for co-op camp? Is that what line is that in? And I just want to say that I'm very disappointed with that decision. It not only affects Latinos, two of my children went last year, and it has a huge impact.
You can watch the school board meeting in its entirety on demand on the LMC TV website, lmctv.org. Which parts of the budget do you think are most important to the Mamaroneck schools? Tweet us your answer at The Local Live.
Ann McAndrews was re-elected mayor of Larchmont in a race where she ran unopposed. Larchmont trustees Marlene and Peter Finelli were also re-elected. Mayor McAndrews acknowledged the results with a statement in the Board of Trustees meeting on Tuesday.
I'm really honored to be given the opportunity to serve the community. And I think when you deal with the most personal, important things in people's lives, it's more than just important, it's honorable. And I take that very seriously, and I hope I can live up to the task and keep your trust. So thank you.
And now for In the Media with Mike Witch. He's got a nose for local news.
The March 14th edition of the Mamaroneck Review reports that Mamaroneck Village has adopted the state multiple dwelling law to, quote, strengthen protections for low-income tenants and enforce violations on landlords. The review also has an article that Mayor Rosenblum aims to reinforce the proper policy between the Board of Trustees and the village's many volunteer committees and commissions. As reported in the review, the mayor and the trustees have the ultimate authority. This, I believe, was triggered by the recent arguments over changes in the local waterfront revitalization program. You can read all the details in the Mamaroneck Review. From the Journal News, an update on the Mamaroneck School busing plan. The Board of Education now plans to give a final reading to the new busing policy that affects some non-public school students on April 8th. That's 3 weeks earlier than the board had first planned. The Fairness for All Kids Coalition, which protests the new policy, promises to show up in force on April 8th. Both the Mamaroneck Patch and the Mamaroneck Voice have published a fact sheet from the school board that explains the board's point of view on this issue. The Patch reports that CBS newsman Lou Young will MC a Spelling Bee fundraiser for the Larchmont Library. Young calls Larchmont home, and the Spelling Bee organizers hope that his presence will add a little excitement to the event, which is open to adults and teens. It takes place on April 6th. There's still time to register. Details and registration forms at larchmontlibrary.org. Molly Spillane in Mamaroneck was named a St. Patrick's Day hotspot in the Mamaroneck Voice. The paper says the restaurant had a special menu that day, drink specials, and Irish music. No word, though, if they plan to repeat this service on Sunday, March 23rd, when the Sound Shore St. Patrick's Day Parade marches right past the restaurant on Mamaroneck Avenue. The Loop had an interesting article on Larchmonter Robert Herbst. Mr. Herbst is a 26-time national champion powerlifter. He told The Loop that he's been named a semi-finalist for the Sullivan Award, which goes to top amateur athletes in the country. Sort of the Heisman of amateur sports, says Herbst. Finalists are picked in part by a public vote, which closes March 23rd. Vote online at www.aausports.org. On March 19th, the Mamaroneck Daily Voice carried the news alert that Ann McAndrews, Marlene Colbert, and Peter Finelli all won re-election in Larchmont. Well, of course they did. The election was uncontested. Our congratulations to all of them. There is a nice photo of the winners on the Voice website. And finally, some equestrian news. What? Well, you heard me. The Larchmont Mamaroneck Patch tells the story of 24 local equestrians who just completed a very successful year as members of the Twin Lakes Farm International Equestrian Team. The full story is in the March 18th edition of the Patch. And that's some of the local news I found this week in the media.
Hi, I'm State Senator George Latimer, and I encourage you to watch every week The Local Live. I was going to say something like, I live in Rye, but if I lived in Larchmont and Mamaroneck, I would watch The Local Live every week. And I just remind. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Maura Carlin, and you're watching the 14th edition of The Local Live. Samantha Guzman's here to help with the social media. Remember, we want to hear from you. This roundtable discussion panel focuses on going green, governmental initiatives in sustainability, home building and energy efficiency, along with ways to reuse and reduce your garbage. Joining me are County Legislator Catherine Parker, Michael Murphy of Mamaroneck's Murphy Brothers Contracting, and Beth Radow, an attorney, an expert on conservation, and president of the Larchmont Mamaroneck League of Women Voters. Please, again, call, tweet, or email to the numbers and addresses on the screen. We will get to them as quickly as we can. And thank you all again for joining us. Catherine, my first question is actually for you. Is county government discussing sustainability? And if so, what's going on?
Absolutely. So let me first say that not only am I the county legislator for the Sound Shore, but I'm also the chair of the Environment and Energy Committee. And, you know, right from the get-go, one of the first things that I have really set a course for action is really looking at more ways that the county can be sustainable and look at reducing our energy output. So just recently, I had in the New York Power Authority, because we get our power from New York Power Authority, not Con Ed, and I met with them because I was curious if there was more that we could be doing with them to do more for solar panels on our buildings. We've done a couple, And right after that meeting, bringing in the county administration to go through our audit of our roof inventory and see what we can do. But I'll take a break for a second and just say, Maura, thank you so much for having me on this panel with Mike and Beth, because I have to say, if this is sort of my dream team of just an environmental conversation. In fact, what Mike's been doing, I certainly know of the work that from both of them. Beth and I have known each other for years, and I've had a lot of admiration for her. Mike, I am so glad you brought the solar shingle, because this was something.
ruined the surprise,
No, but
Catherine.
I'm telling you, this is really something that I have been, very cutting edge. So
Well, as I said
besides government, this is far more interesting.
Well, as I said to our guests before I started, it's always great when the guests really want to talk to each other, and that is what's going on tonight. Michael, let me ask you, you participated recently in the county-sponsored talks at the home show at the county center regarding building blocks for an energy-efficient home. For those of us who weren't there, what are the top 3 things that you took away from this?
Well, first, talk about a leap. Like here, they've been doing the home show for 32 years. And this is the first time they've had a green event. So,
Right.
I mean, it's a good start. I guess the 3 things that really stuck out were that people should get an energy audit in their homes. It's available, and they don't have to pay for it. I mean,
Okay, audit. We don't like that.
Well, okay, we're going to use the word assessment. Okay, you get an energy assessment in their home. It's available to people, and it's paid for by government. If there's funds out there to do that, they can find out how to make their home more energy efficient. The other thing is that that there should be some sort of a certification program for not only local contractors, but for providers of like solar panel people, where people would know that if they went to this plumber or this electrician or they hired this contractor, that they would have someone that understands how to make the home most energy
So
efficient.
kind of a resource guide.
A resource guide, right, but it's actually a certification program. They say the person knows what they're doing, and it's not just kind of like a green wash, you know what I mean? And the third thing would be that we want to encourage people to think green when they want to renovate or remodel or retrofit their home. Not, it doesn't have to be like they have to do everything. They would just start out with some small things if they want to,
Okay, well, we're going to come back to you for the details. But Beth, I want to get you in this conversation because I know that you and the League of Women Voters have plans and ideas for what I'm calling, not you, a sort of community conservation conscience or a collective conscience. Tell us about that.
Okay, well, we, over the past year, have something called the Conservation Civics Initiative, and we wanted to encourage people to consume less in their own lives and actually put the money aside in a piggy bank. So, for example, if you would walk more and drive less and you could save a tank of gas a year, that could be, that's just a year, $60. You go to the supermarket and you don't have to buy the green bananas. You can go and get the bruised bananas, which are actually, they're actually a little sweeter and more healthy. And you save a few dollars and put that money away. Over the course of a year, people save $100. We were thinking in this community, we're upgrading the energy system at the Hommocks Ice Rink, which is the largest energy consumer in the community. And if everybody in this community saved $100 by just consuming a little less, we could raise $2.9 million, which is really quite extraordinary. So if we all do a little bit, it can go a long way.
Okay, Michael, I actually want to come back to you first.
Actually, I think that's great. I think it's a great idea. It's very impressive. No, I see that people do the smaller things that lead to the extraordinary results, like saving that kind of money. So we're glad. Sometimes I feel like we're like in the middle of this. We're kind of dealing with people who really could care less.
Well, you are literally in the middle here.
Yes, I am. And then on the other hand, we care about people that deeply are concerned about what's going on with the environment and saving energy. So.
Well, let's go to the building for a minute. This is a community of a lot of older homes, and I think that there are people who are reluctant or don't think that a lot of these things can be done to the older homes to make them more energy efficient. Is that wrong?
Well, again, I think going back to the idea of having an energy audit assessment done on their house, right? And seeing what they can be done, because a lot of times people think, well, I'm going to make my home energy efficient. I think I'm going to get new windows, right? Now, new windows might be a $20,000 to $30,000 investment or more in the house, whereas they can do things which might be very simple and maybe cost them a couple of $1,000s and save them a lot of money in the long run. and some of that is the way that they insulate their house, and it's not blowing in insulation, it's another method. But I think they should look into this about having someone come in and do an energy audit.
Okay,
So,
but go ahead,
And,
Catherine.
to that point, the homeowner or so let's say somebody who also has an older, is a developer and has an older affordable housing or building and would love to do something that would be more energy efficient, but is really concerned about, the cost, the upfront costs. One of the nice things about that I'm discovering in government is there are organizations out there that there's an organization there's NWEAC, which is Northern Westchester Energy Action Coalition, and SWEAC, which is the Southern Westchester Energy Action Coalition. And actually, Town of Mamaroneck just joined SWEAC. City of Rise just joined. And one of the offshoots of that is that they have started an EIC, an Energy Improvement Corporation. And what that does, it will, for the municipalities that have joined, it allows for municipal bonds that would be secured with the municipality's credit rating, and then that money can be loaned to make these energy efficient upgrades. And it's really marvelous, because if you're looking at an older home or an older, as I say, a nonprofit who has a building or affordable housing, this is really a great opportunity to work with Murphy Brothers or work with somebody who's really knowledgeable, who can help, in fact, find all those energy efficiencies. And then it'll pay for itself, over the long term of the loan.
And this is available to individual homeowners, not just the municipalities.
Well, they have, so there are two different things that the EIC does. Yes, they are going to be offering for homes. I've been actually looking at it too from sort of the governmental standpoint of affordable housing, and again for some nonprofits in our communities. But there's a really good opportunity, I think, for this additional help with financing, working with NYSERDA also. And so I think that that's a great way that government is trying to partner and help so that we can be doing more.
And if people want more information, is it on your county legislator website?
It's not. If they want more information specifically to that, they can go to Energize NY and get more information. But it's really something that I think is really boding well for the future of more things happening. And that's all also, it's that property assessed clean energy organization that's kind of, and this is all an offshoot of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Michael, I want to go back to these older homes, and I'm thinking slate roof, not likely to want to put solar panels in it. I know you've brought us some show and tell items, but that it just concerns me. You have something that would work on one of these roofs?
no more, you sound like someone who knows someone has an old house.
Yes, that would be me. With
Actually,
a slate roof.
What I'm going to show you, this is, I'm going to pull this out here. This is,
Excuse me,
if
we
you can
actually
get
have a
this
call.
in there. This is can you pull back on that? You can see the whole thing there.
We have
There
a
it is.
call
There
from
it is.
Bruce.
Okay. This is a solar shingle right here. And this is an amazing thing in the sense that it's not just it's a roof, it's roofing. This is the shingle. And it's made by Dow Powerhouse. And the cool thing is this is technology that's been developed for people.
Sorry to interrupt, but we have a call from Bruce.
Okay,
Well,
we're taking a call from Bruce. We will come back to our
Sure.
solar panel. Bruce, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is switching the subject a little bit, but this is about sustainable playland and the plan to build a field house in the parking lot. This is a terrible idea and will cause massive traffic jams at Playland. Playland had the plan for the airplane coaster, which was the finest roller coaster for many, many years at the park, and it was the largest money-making attraction there ever. Why isn't this ever talked about? And why is it maybe Central Amusements or a company that really knows what they're doing there instead of local ride people being involved with this and taking this over like hand over fist immediately?
Okay, thank you, Bruce. I gather this is not for you, Beth.
No,
This is for Catherine.
That's a little off topic, but actually it's interesting because so the plan for Playland, and we can do a whole nother show, in which I would suggest, Bruce, that that might be something that you'd be interested in. The whole plan for Playland is interesting in that certainly there are some opportunities to add in some more green space, removing part of the parking lot to put in 2 fields, and doing some upgrades along the buffer zone close to the shore, which is really great.
Okay. I hope that answered your question, Bruce.
If not, I'll be calling back.
Yes, you will be. But we're going back to the solar panel.
All right, so you have a slate roof, and
Yes.
maybe you can't. The traditional solar panels really don't work well with slate roofs, and this particular product, the Dow Powerhouse Solar Shingle, works with the slate roof, which is interesting because it's something that's been driven by the need for new technology, and Murphy Brothers is not a roofing company and we're not a solar company. But we believe that building green simply means building smart, and this is a really smart product. And that's what's coming out in the building and in construction today is a lot of these smart things that people are really interested in. I mean, LED lighting, for another thing, so it's pretty amazing stuff. So I would recommend this for anybody that has a cedar, asphalt, or a slate roof.
And about how long to recoup your investment?
Well, this is actually the best time to do it would probably be today if you've got the right solar orientation and you've got no shading, because we pay a lot of money for our electricity, and everybody knows that. And there's tremendous both federal, state, and local incentives to do this, and it's about a 5 to 7 year payback for doing the solar.
Beth, I gather that you like this idea because it stops us from using other forms of energy.
Well, yeah, we've, in addition to being president of the local League of Women Voters, I chair the Committee on Energy, Agriculture, and the Environment for the New York State League of Women Voters. And we are looking at the impacts of fossil fuel, particularly hydraulic fracturing in New York. But there's a new energy plan that's come out in New York, and we're looking at that as well. And I'll have some interesting comments about that later on. We're doing some interesting things. But I think a point that's worth it for people to know about as we're looking at different forms of energy to use is that if you think about it as a pie, and we're certainly using more fossil fuel than anything else, the less we consume, the less other energy we need. So that conservation is a really important component in our energy consumption, whether it's renewable energy of solar, wind, hydro, electric, or biodiesel, or what have you, or fossil fuel. If we in our individual lives consume less, and by that I mean smaller meals, we have, I think, doubled the size of our meals since 1970. The largest component of our waste in this country comes from our food. We throw out an average of 2/3 of a pound per person of waste, and a day. And families, I think, spend $2,275 that goes into the garbage. So you're paying for it, and then we also pay for our waste. So we're actually paying for food twice. And cumulatively, we could literally be feeding millions of people. But if you don't even want to be thinking about being benevolent, you just think about your own house, what you could do for $2,275 in your own household. And we're also contributing to our carbon footprint when we are burning that stuff. So there are things like, for example, the Best Buy date when you go to the supermarket. This is a very basic thing that people can know about. Just because something says best buy a particular day doesn't mean it's going to go bad. Doesn't mean you have to throw it away. It means that it may not be as fresh as possible, but you could still eat it. You have to wait until it crawls out of your refrigerator, and then you know that you shouldn't be eating it anymore. That's fun.
So you're really talking about buying older food, and you're not talking about eating less.
Sorry to interrupt, but we have an email coming from Josh.
Okay.
He said, everyone knows that recycling is important. However, people don't have the habit to separate their garbage. How can we educate people and change this?
Who wants this one? You want to go?
Well, I think that one of the things that municipalities can do is, I think that they have the containers outside of people's homes for recycling. You can certainly find somebody, I suppose. You could give them a ticket. Right? I don't know how else you might enforce that. What do you do up at the county when people don't sort their garbage?
We actually put a big fat oops sticker on the bags as they come up from, the different municipalities. And yeah, we send fines back to the municipalities. It was actually one of the reasons why in 2008, and when I was a Rise City Councilwoman, I did a big push to get recycling for our downtown and our public parks, because there were no recycling bins there whatsoever, and I thought, that's crazy that we're just collecting it just like any other garbage.
And do people use it? I was someplace the other day and I had a bottle that needed to be recycled, and there was nowhere to put it.
Yep, but that's not good. That's not good. I'll tell you though something very interesting. Just last Friday, I went to the MRF, as it's called.
The MRF.
Yes,
The MRF, is that your
Yes,
what is the
it's
MRF?
it's the recycling facility, and it's fascinating. Honestly, I think I'm going to do an invitation out to the district for anybody that would like to tour the MRF, because it
Catherine,
really
we'll go with
is.
you.
Yeah, it's a great place.
MRFs
I'm
will
telling
go
you.
with
The MRFs to the
will
MRFs.
go to the
Yeah,
MRF.
sure.
That's great.
Love
But
to.
one of the places, and the other place I'd like to go is up to Peekskill, where Wheelberator has, they buy $6 million of our garbage from the county. It's brought up there, and that actually goes to produce energy, and it heats, I think they said, 80,000 homes.
What do they convert it into?
Which kind of energy?
Yes.
I think it's, I think it's electric.
They burn its electricity. Yeah.
And it's really just, again, another way that it's, we're not just, garbage is making something more energy, and I think that's really the way. Food waste, I mean, I think you're 100% right at talking about food waste. That's really the next step, as I see it anyway,
Excuse
to
me?
what
We also have a question about plastic bags.
But before we get to the plastic bags, I think we have a videotape that we can watch.
Sure.
This week's Local Live roundtable discussion is about sustainability. In recent efforts to improve the environments of the Larchmont and Mamaroneck communities, the village board members have decided unanimously to ban the use of plastic bags in favor of paper and reusable bags. But how do the community members feel about this? Let's find out.
So it's really great to see the communities acting with some kind of environmental responsibility. Well, when I was in college, I heard a lot of misinformation, and I think that was primarily to benefit the manufacturers of the plastic bags and the grocery stores because they were more convenient for them.
I think it's a good thing because, it's biodegradable, whatever, and instead of using all that plastic, and you do see the plastic bags floating all over the place, and, it's kind of ridiculous, and so we need to do something. I have to admit, at first, I didn't really cater to it because I like the plastic bag because of the handles, but I do understand, and it is important for the ecology. And also, some of them even have the handles. It may not do a whole lot, but it's going to do something for the ecology. So.
It should have happened a long time ago because the plastic bags really cause, if you drive up and down the highways, they're everywhere. So we want to keep Mamaroneck clean. That's important, because we live here, and whether you're a renter or you're an owner or a commercial property owner, you want this town to look great at all times. It's good for business, and it's good for us.
Regardless of paper or plastic, the choice to improve the environment is yours. For the Local Live, I'm Matthew Velasquez.
Thanks, Matthew. I'm actually going to play devil's advocate here. While the people who were interviewed were mostly in support of it, we have heard from other people that paper bags don't work so well, for example, at a liquor store where you may have, people carrying bottles, and it's not always the most secure, or if you're carrying takeout food, it spills. And so let me ask you, do you think it really makes a difference whether you use paper or plastic? And is there some other solution?
Well, there actually have been people who have done the analysis, and there are sort of questions on both sides and how much energy you use, et cetera, et cetera. I think there's something seriously wrong with using plastic and throwing it right in the garbage. It just is, it's not useful.
But there are places where you can recycle your plastic
There
bags.
are, but we use energy when we recycle things. That's why reusing, always reusing. Have your bag with you, and then you're not throwing it away. And because recycling uses energy, and you can have these in your trunk, et cetera, et cetera. It's true that you can spill if you go to the Chinese takeout, and it may not be a perfect solution all across the board, but it's better.
Okay, this is
And
going
the
to sound
band,
like
a couple of
Okay.
things. One, the average lifespan of those plastic bags is 12 minutes. That's from store to when you get it home, and if it goes, God forbid, it goes in the garbage. And the goal is not, it's not the question really of paper or plastic. The goal is for us to get better habits and change our habits so that we are really more conscious of the fact that we can carry our own bags. I mean, if you think about it, there are other laws that we have, wearing a seatbelt, all these things that are trying to get in better habits, for the environment or safety. That's better. So I think that, I actually, as a former Rye City Councilwoman, we were the first in Westchester County to pass the plastic bag ban. We did that the law went into effect in June of 2012. And I can say, we absolutely, I also own a business in the downtown. I think people have gotten used to it, and it's not a big deal. It's a really good thing for our community to do. Village of Mamaroneck followed suit, Village of Larchmont. And now, Town of Mamaroneck, as you're probably aware, is having a little bit of a problem. Actually, it's interesting you had Stop and Shop on your video because Stop and Shop is pushing back. And I was at something last week in Scarsdale with it was an environmental meeting, and I was talking to people all over the county. They would love to see a plastic bag ban.
That was actually
countywide.
my next question
Yeah,
for
I
you.
heard it. I heard it a lot, and I can tell you this: it will be a heavy lift, but I'm prepared if people around the county are willing to, join me on this and say, all right, let's try to change the collective habit here. We'll try to legislate something.
I want to go back to you, Beth, because we were talking about garbage, and I know that you've been involved or knowledgeable about some efforts to use garbage in other creative ways to reuse it in a sense. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the story that comes to mind is Recology, which used to be in Larchmont, and they're now moved to New Rochelle. But if you've got things at home that you can't use again, you can make jewelry. I don't think I actually wore any of my recycled jewelry, but I've got it. I have some earrings out of paper clips. People can do really wonderful things. When we did our trash and show last year at the League of Women Voters, which people, by the way, can watch on LMC
That's
TV,
right.
We got high school students to design outfits made out of recycled materials. One of our winners made a dress. She was like a Lady Gaga-esque kind of thing out of her homework. I think it was, it was after she handed it in. But someone made an outfit out of tires. It's just a matter of thinking creatively about how we can use things before we throw them away for good.
Okay, and we actually have an email back to the plastic bags.
What inspired the community to want to ban the plastic bags?
Does anyone know the history or the background?
Well, again, we have a sustainability committee. It was absolutely something that was, to reduce, and to, because it is made with petroleum, so it's a petroleum product. And actually, the sustainability committee, did a fantastic job of really working with the community and finding different partners within the community to sort of buy into this, because, really, it's one thing if you are, talking about a law that, people don't really see the relevance to their lives, but it's another thing. They went out and they actually, worked with the Chamber of Commerce, and the Chamber of Commerce really signed on to this.
Well, we actually have another email about this. Go ahead, Samantha.
Are the laws for curbing your dues going to change?
Dogs.
Your dues and your don'ts.
Well, the dues of the dogs.
Are the laws for curbing your dogs going to change in order to accommodate people not having plastic bags available to them?
Because we all know what most people use those plastic bags for.
I have a dog, and I have yet to find the day when I don't have a plastic bag that I can use. And those plastic bags are not, it's not the thin plastic bags that we're talking about. It's the reusable bags with the handle, or the plastic bags with the handles that are the ones that are banned. But there are plastic bags that today, you can use for your...
Are there environmentally friendly ones?
There are some environmentally friendly ones, and there are also, if you get a newspaper delivered to your house, it comes in a plastic bag.
Right. On a rainy day.
Every day.
Oh, depends where you live.
Yeah.
Or who delivers it. Michael, I wanted to get back to you because along with the aging homes, we have aging infrastructure in the municipalities. In fact, Nancy Seligson, the town supervisor, was here last week talking about that. How does that impact what we can do with our homes, if at all?
You know, there's a lot of things that people can do with their homes. I mean, it's if they're interested in energy efficiency, it's possible that we should have some sort of a symposium or a get-together within the communities, where you're getting people, giving people these ideas, which obviously not these candid or these off-the-cuff ideas you might have right now, or some suggestions, but every home is different. I mean, every single home is different. Even they might look the same. There's a different solution for each home, each challenge, and it might be. I think it would be a terrific idea for the various local communities to have something, to have a place, another agency maybe that would people could go to and find out where they could get information for this.
Conservation fair.
Sure, and again, I go back to the idea of getting an energy assessment for their home. That's a very, very good idea. So.
Okay. We are running out of time, but I want to give each of you a last chance to put something out there. And Beth, we're going in reverse order. You go first.
Well, I want to announce that the League of Women Voters is going to have our second annual community yard sale at the parking lot on Myrtle Boulevard across from Memorial Park. It's going to be on Sunday, May 4th. People can go to our website, lwvlm.org, and get a registration form. It's $25 for a space. That money is going to go to the Hommocks Ice Rink Trust Fund. And this is spring cleaning with meaning. You can get your stuff and you can put it in the space and sell it and keep the proceeds. Last year we had 40 people participating, and we also had a sustainability fair. So we had an electric car, we had somebody with solar, we had people from Sheldrake Environmental, etc. So we hope people will come.
Okay, Michael, your turn.
Okay, if you want Dow Powerhouse Solar Shingles more, this is where you'd come to Murphy Brothers Contracting. You can contact me. I'm at michael@murphybrothers.com. And, or they can go to our website, which is www.murphybrothers.com. And next Tuesday, we're having a presentation.
What's the date?
March 25th.
Okay.
6 o'clock, top floor, Molly Spillane's. We're doing a presentation specifically for architects, but if anybody's interested in passive house design, this is just the thing for them. We have one of the foremost experts in the United States on passive house, Tomas O'Leary, and he's going to be there giving a presentation on passive house design. And it's open to architects specifically. Unless somebody really wants to get in, they can talk to me and I'll get them in there.
That sounds great. Catherine?
Two things. One, on Monday, March 31st at 3 p.m. for my Environment and Energy Committee meeting, we are having in several people who will be talking about food waste and local composting, so that might be something. And then also on May 10th, I will be holding an environmental summit in the district. Place still to be determined, but if somebody is interested in participating, they can send me an email at parker@westchesterlegislators.com, and I would be happy to give them the details once we have that solidified.
That's great, and unfortunately, we are out of time, but I want to give a big thank you to our guests. We have County Legislator Catherine Parker, Michael Murphy of Murphy Brothers Contracting, and Beth Radow, League of Women Voters, and an attorney. We thank everyone else out there for participating, for the staff and the volunteers of the Local Live. I'm Maura Carlin. We'll see you next time.
Hi, I'm Kate Murphy, and you're watching The Local Live.
From state legislators to animals in arms. You know, we've all been there. A baby bird falls out of his nest right into your front yard. You don't know how to help him. Fortunately, the Sheldrake Environmental Center has programs to educate the community on how to handle these situations. Local Live reporter Alina Suriel was there.
I'm Alina Suriel, and we're here with the Local Live at the Sheldrake Environmental Center. Today we're going to learn the do's and don'ts of handling injured or abandoned animals.
Animal Nation is an organization dedicated to saving animals in the Westchester and Fairfield area, both by caring for animals in need and educating people about their neighborhood critters. The Sheldrake Center hosted the lecture as part of their ongoing initiative to add more interactive programming in their facility.
We get a lot of calls from the community about wildlife, and that's not our expertise. We do environmental education. We thought it would be a good idea to have a program partly for us so that we would know more, and also for the community so the community could know how to handle wildlife.
90% of the calls we get, maybe more, are false alarms. And a lot of people, as much as they want to help, they don't understand that that bird will be okay, or that squirrel will be fine. You just need to let it be. Well, I've been watching it for the last 20 minutes, we get called, and the mom's nowhere in sight. Well, of course, because you're a predator in her mind, and she thinks you're going to eat her.
As part of the program, animal rehabilitator Kate Murphy gave out information on all kinds of animals, from bunnies to baby squirrels.
Baby bunnies, as many people think, oh, I found these bunnies. This would be a great experience for my kids to learn how to help an animal. And they'll have them usually no more than 2 days and feed them whatever they read on the internet, and then they start to die. You want to wrap them in a towel and also create either a little nest out of some kind of container, put them all in there and keep them warm. Warm, dark, and quiet is the most important thing for any baby animal. They lose body heat very quickly. And also they get stressed. I always tell people, if you do come across a snapping turtle that needs to be crossed, and they can weigh like 40 pounds, they're often very heavy, the best thing I suggest is pulling out your car mat, sliding the turtle on it, moving the car mat across the road, and just letting them off, far from the street, because they can be very, very heavy.
Attendees were surprised to hear that some of what they thought they knew about animal rescue was incorrect.
Something that I learned that I thought was important was that if you see skunks or raccoons out during the day, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything wrong with them, and you don't have to really worry.
I also always heard the story that you never touch a bird out of its nest because the mom will reject it. And what I learned today is moms don't even have a sense of smell. So they have no idea that somebody else touched their bird. So yes, you should put it back in the nest.
So we always tell people wild animals are wild animals, pet animals are pets. Never good to keep a wild animal as a pet, and it's never good to release a pet animal into the wild.
This is Alina Suriel from the Local Live, signing off.
That doesn't need gas to run was once a futuristic idea. While still unusual, Mamaroneck leads the way in ways you'll never guess. Sheila Navarro has the story of the village garbage truck that runs on vegetable oil.
Carbon monoxide is one of the biggest pollutants that harm our environment. Today we're going to learn more about this veggie truck, which is Town of Mamaroneck's initiative to save energy and to keep the air we live clean.
Back in February of 2008, this Mamaroneck garbage truck became the first one in New York that runs on vegetable oil.
The idea started in 2007, and it was Steve Altieri, our town administrator, who had seen an example of a vegetable-powered truck in the county. It wasn't a garbage truck, though. And he came back to the town and said, I think that we could actually do this with a garbage truck in the town of Mamaroneck.
We learned of the technology, and Mike Pinto went and spoke with the VOTech people, and we decided to take on the job of converting this truck first, right behind us, to operating on vegetable oil.
So local restaurant kitchens provide free fuel.
They're doing a wonderful service for the community by giving us their used vegetable oil. And that's the Slapshot Cafe at the Hummocks Ice Rink, Larchmont Yacht Club, Bonnie Briar Country Club, Villa Maria Restaurant, La Reserva Restaurant, Larchmont Tavern, Harry's Burritos, Terra Nova Restaurant, and Nikki's Pizza.
Like quite a list you have in there.
Yes.
Oh yeah, anybody watching this that wants to supply us with vegetable oil, we're happy to come get it. We send someone out, they pick up the vegetable oil, they strain it, and put it in the tank ready for fueling in the trucks.
It happens really early?
Does it happen really early?
You guys wake up at 5 a.m.?
No, we don't do it at 5 a.m. We go out usually in the afternoon to pick it up when the restaurants are all open.
Do you want to give an email so people could provide the vegetable oil and help this initiative?
Sure, they can write to townadministrator@townofmamaroneck.org. If you're interested in supplying us with vegetable oil, we'll provide the containers that you put it in, and we'll pick it up, bring you empty containers. We'll do the whole process for you.
These sulfur-free trucks save 40 gallons of diesel a week and $22,000 per year.
fuel is so much cleaner than running a diesel fuel. It has very low particulate matter, so we're very happy about that, of course. And it has reduced our carbon footprint by 55 metric tons a year by using this. And some people say it smells better.
When it's running, it smells like French fries. And
Then you're getting like cravings of French fries when you're driving the truck.
it depends on what we picked up that day. If it's Chinese food, it might smell like fried rice. But
From fries to fuel, the truth is that vegetable oil is a renewable source of energy that reduces carbon dioxide emissions by over 78% compared to petroleum diesel. As proud of the town officials are of its carbon footprint reduction, they are currently working on a sustainable plan to save money, reduce energy costs, and reduce flooding. For The Local Life, I'm Sheila Navarro, signing off.
Hey guys, you're watching The Local Live. Stay tuned. Yeah.
This week, our special pooch ready for adoption is Morgan, a medium-sized terrier mix. Morgan is house-trained and already knows how to shake, high-five, sit, and roll over. Let's watch a clip of her hamming it up.
She's going to show everybody her tricks.
Down, roll over. Good girl. Catch. Good girl.
Hey, what a good girl.
Shake. No. Get out. Paw. Other paw. Down, roll over. Good girl. Sit down. Catch.
Adoption donations are $150, but she comes ready with her vaccinations and microchip. If you've fallen in love with Morgan, you can contact the New Rochelle Humane Society 7 days a week to see if she still needs a home.
Well, that concludes our show tonight. Thank you for watching The Local Live.
Our show is dedicated to community news, so it might not be long until you see us covering a story on your very own street.
But why wait? If you or someone you know would like to send us a story, idea, or be involved with our production team, send us a tweet at The Local Live, or you can email us at thelocallive@lmctv.org. Stay friendly, Mamaroneck. Be classy, Larchmont.
And I hope to see all of you at the parade on Sunday, where I'll be commentating.
That's right. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Tell us what you think. In person, over the phone, online. Watch and hear yourself on TV. You tell us, we air it. This is The Local Live.